time for the greatest expedition in history.
One falls. Not if, when. Do you still believe that?
For those who come after me. Right?
Once every so often, a game will drop with little to no hype and blow everyone's expectations out of the water. Expedition 33 is the first game by Sandfall Studio. Expedition 33 is heavily inspired by JRPGs, but the combat is so innovative for a turn-based game. The level and open world design is both hauntingly beautiful and rich. The main characters have so much development, and the side characters are charming and add so much to the story. And the original soundtrack is one of the best in gaming history. Plus it's got this guy, guaranteed Game of the Year. Today I'll be getting all the achievements in what I think is the Game of the Year. Before we begin, what's the best game you've ever played? Let me know down in the comments. And now, without further ado, let's get to expeditioning. The game begins in the city of Lumiere, which is overlooked by a giant figure called the Paintress, who counts down every year to a number so that anyone that age in Lumiere will be gommaged. We're first introduced to the character Gustave, who looks very much like Robert Pattinson, but is actually voiced by Charlie Cox. His adoptive sister Maëlle then shows up, telling Gustave he should give the flowers to his girlfriend, Sophie. We get a quick tutorial on movement, as well as a tutorial battle on the mechanics of combat in this game, such as dodging, parrying, and combat skills.
That's for your, if there's room.
There's always room.
We have our first actual fight, and I'm not gonna lie, the parrying timing took me a while to get used to. I do eventually get the hang of it, and after breaking and stunning the mime, I get the first achievement of the game for breaking an enemy, as well as getting the second achievement for using Gustave's ultimate to break the enemy. And finally, after the battle, I get an achievement for defeating the mime.
Thanks.
Back in the overworld, the gommage is taking place, as the Paintress counts down from 34 to 33. It's at this moment we fully grasp the severity of the situation, as entire families get destroyed. Gustave's sister Emma gives a speech to inspire us to finally take down the Paintress once and for all, to end these senseless killings.
Be hidden by her oppressive silhouette as the sun rise without the shadow of her cursed figure. Thanks to you, Expedition 33.
Achievement for embarking on the expedition, sweet.
You're old. How did you survive the gommage?
Oh shit, he just one-shotted him.
Fall back!
I don't know how we survived that. This game looks beautiful, man. We make our way through the first level of the game, Spring Meadows, which does a great job in introducing the fantastic level designs in this game. Gustave eventually reaches a camp with a bunch of dead expeditioners.
You do that, we both die.
It's also here we first get introduced to Lune, the mage of this game. Even after completing the game, I don't know exactly how her stains work, but to simplify it, the more of an elemental stain you consume, if the skill uses that stain, it may do extra damage or have an added side effect if the stains are consumed.
Come on, there might be other survivors at the Indigo Tree.
I'm going to repeat myself a lot, but I still can't get over how good the game looks. And one of my favourite things was just exploring the levels. We eventually reach a rest point that has a journal from a past expedition. Throughout the game, there are other journals we'll need to collect for an achievement at the end. After we make our way through the level, we encounter our first boss of the game, Évêque, which means bishop in French. There's an achievement for beating a boss without getting hit, so I thought the smart move would be to do it on the first boss of the game. I got close on a few occasions, but would always get hit towards the end. Eventually, I got a run where I was able to parry or dodge all of its attacks. And in doing so, got the professional achievement for defeating a boss without getting hit.
Mile to the weird corals. Head north. Look for a
Oh, I wonder who wrote this.
Mael.
It's a lead. Our only lead. Whoever this is knows Mael. We have to go.
No. Not yet. Protocol is to regroup at the rally point and wait 3 days.
Look, I'm going after Mael.
Is she coming?
Protocol also states, never move solo.
We get an achievement for making our way through Spring Meadows, and afterwards arrive on the Overworld, an area where we can make camp.
Fuck the mission! Fuck the mission, Lune! What are we gonna do, huh? Tell me. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take down the Paintress, just the three of us?
When one falls. When one falls. Not if. When.
But I'm not afraid to fight, it's just Mael.
Mael swore the same oath.
I know that!
She chose her life. Fuck the mission. Really?
The next level is Flying Waters, which thankfully isn't an underwater level. We come across this page called a Pain Cage, which has a rare item within it, and to break it we need to find 3 locks and shoot them to obtain the loot inside. After doing so, we get the achievement Pain Cage for breaking it. If the first level showcased the fantastic level design, this level showcased the beautiful soundtrack of this game, and was only a sign of absolute bangers to come. We eventually reach the door the message was telling us about, and we get sucked in, no pause, through this door into this fancy looking mansion. After exploring the mansion, we come across a room where Mael is writing a journal.
Mael?
It kinda looks like Withers from Baldur's Gate 3.
With him.
We play through another tutorial where we learn about Mael's stances. As we'll see later on, Mael can absolutely carry us in boss battles. After defeating the Curator, he says he'll see us back at camp.
Neko's usually here. I wonder where...
Oh, I hope this isn't a boss battle because I forgot to rest.
Yeah, we need to get to the Paintress.
Can't believe I'm getting rinsed by Sideshow Bob over here. After returning to camp, we visit the Curator. The Curator is able to upgrade all our resources in the game, such as healing and reviving tints, Lumina points, and most importantly, our weapons. We get an achievement for spending our first Lumina points, and then shortly after, get another achievement for upgrading our weapon for the first time. Further on in Flying Waters, we come across a Nevron that isn't hostile to us. Throughout the game, there will be some Nevrons that will have quests for us to do. These will vary between retrieving an item for them, or some sort of combat-related quest. After returning the mine to the Nevron, we try out Mael in battle for the first time, and actually end up getting an achievement for hitting a marked enemy with one of her skills. Further on, Mael gives us a good piece of advice that I immediately ignored, as I wanted to see what this mini-boss had to offer. It was definitely one of the coolest enemies design-wise I'd faced, and it also had an ability to swallow a party member, again no pause, taking them out of the battle completely, unless you broke it. It took me a few goes, and there would be times it swallowed 2 party members, so I was left to solo this mini-boss with Mael, and retrieve Lune and Gustav. After this fight, it was time for the actual boss of Flying Waters, Goblin.
Coming!
Goblu would grow flowers that it could absorb to gain shields and also regenerate health. As long as you destroyed the flowers, this boss was actually quite easy, as its attacks were quite easy to parry. And I was able to use Gustav's ultimate to defeat it, earning us the achievement for making it through Flying Waters. At camp, you can increase relationship levels with other party members, and in doing so we earned another achievement for witnessing an optional scene. We decided to move on towards the Gestural village, but first had to make our way through the ancient sanctuary.
They must have some sort of track or trail leading to the village.
I don't see
I
any.
think they mean us.
They must be Gestrals. They're cute, but they're idiots.
We didn't get quite the welcome we were looking for, so we had to defeat these creatures before we could move on. I also learned quite quickly that these creatures had a self-destruct-like feature at the end of the battle. He's so small, look at him. Again, this game's music is just unbelievable. Just have a listen to this. It's just so jaunty. We eventually reach the entrance, but the Gestrals want us to be guinea pigs for their ultimate weapon. Okay, now that is actually an ultimate weapon. This was the toughest battle yet, but it could be made a lot easier by shooting its weak point and removing its giant shield. It had the most variety of attacks of anything I'd come across yet, and as much as it was good practice for parrying, I had actually forgotten that there were jump counters in this game, so I was making things harder for myself by not getting free counters. Once again, Mael was the difference maker, and after defeating it, the Gestrals allowed me into their village. After the cutscene, I got an achievement for making it through the ancient sanctuary. Inside the Gestral village, I came across the greatest thing ever put inside a video game. After watching this masterpiece, we met Golgra, the chief of the village, who tells us a character called Eske will be able to bring us across the water, but we'll need a password to get to him, and to do so we'll have to compete in a tournament. There was only one person I was going to use for this tournament, and that's Mael, who's easily able to make her way through the tournament, until we come across the champion. Oh, I saw her as part of the expedition earlier.
You guys, you're alive! I thought I was the only one left. Shall we?
Again, Mael was able to solo her, and I did get a bit lucky as she didn't attack when she could have beaten me, but the burn did the rest of the work.
Oh, after the beach, I ended up in an odd yellow forest, not too far from here.
Later. Let's get back to Golgra.
We returned to Golgra as a champion, and she gave us the password, so it was off to Eske's nest. Before we could, however, we got another achievement for making our way through the village. Wait, what's going on? Who is that?
I told you to stay.
Oh, it's him.
It's not good for you to see this. I understand. It's her fault, and she doesn't even know it. But you can't be here.
What is this?
You should never have come. You're only going to make things worse for everyone.
Jesus, Mael is traumatized.
I saw him. The white-haired man and this woman.
Breathe. Listen to me. You're safe. Do you understand? Okay?
After that traumatic experience for Mael, we had to move on and meet Eske. Again, I love the design in this level. It was just extremely vibrant and playful. And as we'll soon see, it reflects Eske's personality perfectly.
Bonjour, mes amis.
We really need to cross the sea. Would you please help us?
There's a lot of you to carry. I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. I will need Flory.
We'll leave. We're just here for Flory.
So, not only are you intruding, you're here to steal? Oh my word! Humans! Well, over my dead body!
So, after meeting two of my favourite characters in this game, we had to retrieve a stone for Eske from Francois, who was surprisingly tough and was the only character so far to be able to one-shot us using his strongest ice attack ever. I did eventually get the timing down on his one-shot attack, and it turns out Francois wasn't as tough as his shell would make it seem, and Maëlle was able to one-shot him.
We'll help you find your stones.
Oh, how lovely of you.
Wait, Francois said the Stone Wave Cliffs. Where's that?
All the way to the north. Just aim for the big 33.
After Eske gave us directions for the Stonewave Cliffs, we got the Legend achievement for unlocking Eske, as well as an achievement for making our way through his nest. Back on the overworld, we now had access to Eske, who made getting around much easier and way quicker to get to where we wanted to go. Stonewave Cliffs was the last level in Act 1, and I wouldn't say there was a difficulty spike, but the enemies were getting tougher and had more mechanics involved, like shielding another enemy or giving themselves loads of shields. Whilst making our way through Stonewave Cliffs, I accidentally got an achievement that I wasn't even going for, and that was to consume 4 stains as Lune in a row. Towards the end of the level, we made it inside this creepy cave where the final boss of Act 1, the Lampmaster, was waiting for us. I love the design of this boss, and gameplay wise it really tested you on your parrying and dodging abilities. It was also the first time I realised to listen to sound cues in this game, which really helped with getting the parrying timing down. I thought I had defeated this boss the first time, but it wouldn't really be a challenging game if some of the bosses didn't have a second phase, and this was the case with the Lampmaster. It absolutely decimated me on my first attempt. However, after getting used to its second phase quite quickly, I was able to defeat it on my third attempt.
Like I always say, it's not about the rock. It's more about the...
Oh shit. Oh, I knew he was gonna die. It was spoiled for me, but I didn't think it would be this soon. Oh, this guy again.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Alright, I guess I'm supposed to just lose this fight.
For those who come after. Right?
I know this is a really sad moment, but I just want to say the cinematics are so clean so far.
It's been a while.
It's okay. I'll handle things here.
Am I crazy, or does he kind of look like Gustav?
Get back to your friends.
You set us down this path. But are you ready for the consequences?
We may have lost Gustav, but we gained an achievement for making our way through the Stonewave Cliffs at least.
This seemed important.
Oh, imagine if she dropped it.
I'm wearing an expedition uniform because I, too, am an expedition.
Before?
First expedition. Expedition 0.
Expedition 0? But how are you alive and not...
Old? I don't know exactly, but some of us stopped aging and were not affected by the Gamage.
Some of you? Like the man on the cliff?
Anwar, our commander. I couldn't help your friend, but perhaps I can help you.
You want to join us?
If you don't mind the company. Yes.
So, if I want to kill Renoir, I have to kill the Paintress first. What's your name?
Versa.
Act 2 begins with us unlocking Eske's swim ability, opening up the overworld even further. After testing Verso's combat skills in battle, I got an achievement for reaching rank S, which is done by parrying and dodging, as well as landing hits in battle. Shortly after, I did the same for CL, who I hadn't really used much of up to this point, but she had a similar ability where she applies up to 20 foretell to enemies, and can then consume the foretell with some skills to do extra damage. After consuming 20 foretell, I got another achievement for doing so during CL's Twilight phase. Remember back in Flying Waters when Mael told me to avoid those giant creatures? Well, I ignored her again, as I wanted to keep trying out Verso in combat, as well as needing to defeat this giant Bourgeon in order to get a quest item, as well as finding the first of 9 lost Gestrels that I need to find in order to get an achievement linked to them. After finishing some side quests, I returned back to the main quest and entered the Forgotten Battlefield. In our first battle in this new area, Verso teaches us a new skill we can use, called Gradient Counters. Similar to counters from parrying attacks, but they do a lot more damage if you can counter it. Again, the level design was stunning in this level, as it felt like you were making your way through the muddy trenches of a battlefield. We finally reached the bridge where one of my favourite bosses of all time was waiting for us. Holy shit, that looks so cool. He's gonna be tough. This boss was the first main boss of Act 2, and it was clear from its attack patterns that the game was testing you and making sure you either had the dodging or parrying mechanics down to a T. This boss was also the moment I knew I was playing a truly special and innovative game, and that feeling of accomplishment, of getting the parries down, is only comparable to beating a Souls-like boss after several hours of attempts. He of course had a second phase as he summoned a second sword, and his attacks became even more relentless and deadly, but this boss really helped me with my parrying skills, and I had gotten used to the new gradient counters at this point. Even the ending of this boss was so cinematic. I mean, just look at this entire sequence. After that exceptional fight and ending, we made our way through the Forgotten Battlefield, and like all the other areas in the past, we got an achievement for doing so.
We head north to Monoko Station.
Why there?
To recruit my oldest friend. We'll need the extra firepower, because our next goal will be to take down the Paintress Heart.
Okay. So where is this heart? What does it look like?
What it looks like, that I don't know. But I do know that it's somewhere in the center of old Lumiere.
Back at camp, we're told our next destination and goal, as well as increasing the relationship of each character. Like I said earlier, we'll need to reach max rank with each character for achievements, but along the way characters will earn upgrades such as different skills. So it's in our best interest to check on each character every time we go back to camp. After heading north, we ended up in Monoko Station.
If Monoko's not here, that means...
Oh, is that another boss?
Slow as ever. Obvious.
Oh, is that Monoko?
Ladies, could I interest you in a duel?
Definitely a Gestrel.
No point trying to talk until we've calmed Monoko down with a relaxing fight. Be careful though. Monoko's fighting style is a bit peculiar.
Monoko's fight was very interesting, as he was able to transform into Nevrons we had fought in the past, and he was able to use some of their abilities in battle. Again, the music was fantastic, and after defeating him, it was time for another boss battle, where Monoko seemed a bit annoyed with Verso. The size of that thing, what the fuck?
So, why aren't you using gradient attacks?
Gradient attacks?
It's from the one sitting on his lazy ass.
You didn't teach them, did you, you lazy old fart? Very well. I shall generously impart my wisdom.
So Monoko was annoyed that Verso was being lazy and hadn't taught us gradient attacks yet. And so Monoko taught us how to use these attacks instead. These were extremely powerful attacks, which also had the added benefit of not actually taking up our turn, so we could use another skill after we had used the gradient attack. With the new knowledge of these attacks, we were able to easily take down this giant ice mountain. And then Minoko did something a bit strange. What's he doing? Oh shit, that's kind of cool.
He transforms by collecting Nevron feet.
Oh, he's like the Quentin Tarantino of this game, dude.
Understood.
After recruiting Minoko, we got an achievement for unlocking all playable characters in the game, as well as another achievement for making it through Minoko's station. Now that we had our entire group of ragtag heroes, it was time to go to Old Lumiere to find the Paintress's heart.
We'll need a way forward.
All right. Show off a bit, Minoko.
After Minoko's little mistake, the group got split into two groups. The first was Minoko, Ciel and Lune, which allowed me to try out Minoko in battle, and it was very obvious very quickly he would be one of the main characters I was going to use, as his Nevron skills were just so overpowered.
Do you trust him?
I trust that he wants to reach the Paintress.
Still, I have this feeling he's hiding something.
An axon. Interesting. Verso is... Is this true?
Oh, she definitely found out Verso's a furry.
Mael's with him.
We need to go. Now!
Verso would never harm her.
Can you stand? After you.
Look out, Mael, he's going to turn you into a furry. The second group consisted of Mael and Verso, which was a bit more difficult in battle, as I hadn't unlocked Verso's ability to heal the party at this point in the game. However, Mael was still carrying me at this point, so it wasn't so bad. Eventually, we reached the end of Old Lumiere, where we came across this familiar looking mansion. Is that the curator? A lady curator?
I knew you'd open the door for her.
Oof, rejected. Oh, it's Renoir's house, I guess?
Really, Verso? This was your plan? How many times must you hurt our family?
No, you don't get to lecture me on family.
I'm gonna fucking kill him.
You haven't told her the truth.
Were you planning on sharing that this man, the man who murdered our team, is your father?
Oh, damn.
Right, can we talk about this later? I'd really like for you all to survive this.
Oh, you just know this fight is going to be sick. I can confirm that this fight was indeed sick. This was the most cinematic and toughest battle I'd come across so far, and Renoir immediately tested my gradient counter skills. However, quickly after, I mistimed a gradient counter, and Renoir just erased Verso from existence. So it turned out that Renoir had an ability to just erase a character from battle, making it so that you couldn't even revive them, and if you erased your main team, you couldn't even send in your reserves. So I knew I had to be at my best to make sure I was able to counter these attacks. After my first attempt, I was able to line up my party how I wanted them, and with Minoko's Nevron attacks, and getting a feel for Renoir's attack patterns and gradient attacks, I was able to defeat him on my second attempt, as once again Mael was the MVP of another boss battle, as had been the case so far, and spoiler alert, she would continue to be. I was surprised to find out he didn't have a second phase, but I would soon find out why that was the case.
Everyone all right? Noko?
Oh no, not Noko. Oh no. Nah, he's gotta pay, man. Whatever about Gustav. Noko was just so small and helpless.
You accept who you are!
Did you say Alicia? of that must be Alicia. I know Miles an orphan, but I wonder if they're sisters, maybe? After that traumatic experience, we got another achievement for making it through Old Lumiere, but at what cost?
Care to explain? Your father.
I don't think of him as my father anymore. And all for naught. The Paintress heart was in that manor, and now it's gone. We have no way to access the monolith.
Expedition 58 seemed to think you knew another way.
It's a dead end.
Wait, what are you talking about?
If you say the Paintress name 3 times in the mirror, she appears.
There's someone else who can help us. It's me. Is it true? Can you make a weapon that can pierce the barrier? Do you need something from the Axons?
To create this weapon, he needs enormous amounts of pure chroma. That's a dead end, it's impossible.
Why? What are Axons?
They're massive creatures living on islands around the monolith. They're much stronger and much more dangerous than Nevrons. Right, if we're going to fight the Axons, then let's be smart about it.
What do you mean?
I've had a few rough encounters with the Axons.
We now had another one of SK's abilities unlocked, so we could properly explore the ocean now. The enemies in the game were also getting tougher, and attack patterns were getting more and more complex and relentless. However, whilst fighting and defeating this chromatic boss, we got an achievement for reaching level 33. It was time to take on the first of the 2 Axons, so we visited the Visage Islands. His masks are kind of creepy, man. Like, cool design, but it's freaking me out.
It's not attacking.
Was that an invitation?
So it seems.
Feels like a trap.
Right. Something feels off.
Oh, I'm harmless. You don't need those.
Well, if you're harmless, then these weapons will stay harmless too.
Touché. Well, Visage invites you to join him in his chamber at the end of this path. I assume that's why you're here.
Where do the other paths lead?
You're free to traverse them.
Head straight to the Axon. Or take the other paths?
We're obviously going to take the other paths, and luckily we did so. As it turns out, if I hadn't taken the 3 different paths, the Axon would be able to get buffs throughout the battle from the 3 masks at the end of the paths. The first mask has the ability to heal the enemies it summons, and if I hadn't defeated it, it would have healed Axon throughout the fight. However, it was an easy enough fight, if not just a bit annoying. The next mask was a mask of sorrow and sadness. This time, however, it can apply debuffs to my team, such as exhausting them so they can't earn action points, or making it so if they receive healing, they actually take damage instead. Not as annoying as the first mask, however I definitely needed to take this mask out to make the boss fight a lot easier for myself. The last mask I needed to beat was the Seething Mask, a mask of anger whose ability was to give extra turns to the enemies it had summoned, and like the other 2 before it, it was necessary to take this mask out, so as to not give the Axon any additional turns in battle to do damage. I had figured out my best team at this stage, and Minoka was really pulling through for me, with all the new Nevron skills he had been learning from defeating enemies along the way. Now that we had taken out all the masks, it was time to take on the Axon in a fairer fight. Ursa was not lying about the size of those Axons. This was by far the toughest battle I'd faced so far, and I was super grateful for Past Me for taking out the masks earlier, as this would have made the fight a lot more difficult with all the buffs and debuffs they could have applied. That's not to say that Axon didn't have its own tricks up its sleeves, like this attack that applies a shield for every hit it gets on my party. Because of the scale of the fight, I also wasn't having an easy time gauging the parry timing for its long sweeping attacks. And despite defeating the 3 masks from earlier, the Axon was still able to use an attack that not only damages my entire team, but also heals itself for a ridiculous amount of health. And to make matters worse, Once all the masks have been destroyed, and it reaches a certain amount of health, it lets off an attack that you can't dodge or parry, and leaves you at 1 HP for the second phase of the fight.
Art is both window and mirror. Whether it's your mask or theirs.
Well, I mean, it was obvious he was going to be the boss.
Harmless, huh?
He's the real Axon.
Now, I will say the second phase was a lot more manageable, as a lot of its attacks would focus on one character, rather than the whole party. Although he had one move that could attack the whole party, it was still easier than the first phase of this fight. However, when he got to half health, he applied a buff to himself, where every attack he landed, he would gain a shield, so I had to make sure I wasn't getting hit by his attacks, or this boss would get very difficult very quickly. As you can see here, he can use attacks that could potentially give him up to 8 shields in one attack, as well as knocking out one of my characters if I failed to parry. Mael is always pulled through, and we were able to defeat her first Axon first try.
We all need masks.
He's just kind of slapping them open.
This mask can't hurt me. Because it is me.
That's kind of badass, Seal. Damn. Maybe I should use you more.
Axon down. Let's bring this to the curator.
After defeating our first Axon, we got an achievement for doing so. Wait, what was that? Oh, does Renoir control the curator? I don't know why, but she reminds me of Jinzo from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Is she the Axon?
Sylvain, she who plays with wonder.
The next Axon was located in Serene, in what is some of my favourite level design of any game I've ever played. Like Visage's, there were a few optional bosses we could fight to make the Axon battle a bit easier, and Tetsur, the first boss we come across, has a drop that nullifies one of the Axon's most overpowered abilities, so it was extremely necessary to fight this optional boss. This boss wasn't a pushover, however, and even had the curse ability, that made it so a character would die if the curse wasn't removed in that amount of turns. This boss also had the ability to conjure up enemies to throw at the party, but I was able to easily dodge these attacks. We were then able to swiftly defeat and pick up the anti-charm Picto I would need for the Axon battle. There was no rest for the wicked, as we had to fight another boss shortly after before we could progress towards the Axon. And that was the Glissando, whose attacks I admittedly took a while to get used to. The Glissando was also able to summon ballet dancers, but these attacks actually gave me some respite and opportunity to do some serious damage, as jump counters at this point were free hits. Like the Bourgeois, the Glissando was able to swallow up party members, and the only way to get them back was either break it or defeat it like we did shortly after with a skill Mael had learned recently. After defeating it, it was plain sailing towards the Axon. Just a beautiful soundtrack again, dude. Very hypnotizing. Gustav. Noko. Again, this boss battle was beautiful and cinematic, but I always had trouble getting the parrying down on these attacks, so I knew I'd have to learn it quickly. Now, this boss didn't have a second phase per se, but once she dropped below 75% of her health, she would start introducing more hard-hitting attacks, like this attack where she summons 5 ballet dancers. And even though it wasn't an attack that was panned out like her original attacks, it still caught me off guard, and I missed every single parry, which almost led to my entire party getting wiped out. Once Serene falls below 25% of her health, she initiates the final act. Again, this game is so innovative when it comes to making combat feel so interactive and cinematic. And not just spamming a button to attack. Now, I know I said jump counters were free hits, but I actually missed this one because so much was going on beforehand. But for the most part, after that minor blunder, I was able to parry and counter a few attacks. Even this massive table the Axon threw at me at the end of this attack. And shortly after, I was able to defeat Serene to take down her second Axon. he just one-shotted her. Like Visage's, we got an achievement for defeating Serene. And with that, we had defeated both Axons and could now craft the weapon we needed to reach the Paintress.
You again. Why? Keep seeing things. Who are you?
He doesn't have a mouth, Mael. He obviously can't speak. Oh yeah, the weapon. I actually forgot that was the whole point. Barrier breaker acquired. Ah, Versal's Hogwarts acceptance letter.
My beautiful
Oh, sister.
doesn't need this ugly mask.
You embrace her, yet you're condemning her to die. Have you thought through the consequences? Not just for you, or even me, but for them. Their memories, their dreams, their love for each other. You think you're ready to pay the price in the shadow of the monolith.
We can finally reach the Paintress. For Gustav.
For Noko.
For all of them.
So it was finally time to take on the Paintress. Except my attacks were doing absolutely no damage whatsoever. And also the Paintress wasn't attacking either, so it was pretty obvious this wasn't the actual boss battle. Which makes sense, because this game wouldn't make it that easy.
Our attacks do nothing!
I don't understand. The gradient attack should work.
I think this is...
Is that the real Paintress in the background?
No. No.
Oh, she was at the manor earlier. Oh, she's applying madness to us. Clearly just Sir Gideon in disguise.
Follow her. Quickly.
What?
This might be our only chance.
After going through the portal, we got an achievement for reaching the monolith. The monolith was another beautiful area, where you had to make it through all the levels we'd gone through previously. However, it would sometimes turn black and white, and you would see memories of the Paintress's past with her family. Whilst fighting a chromatic bourgeois as Minoko, I used 4 different upgraded skills in a row, and in doing so earned the wheel control achievement. We continued to make our way through all the previous levels, and there was even a part of the monolith where you return to Lumiere and fight a boss actually called Claire Obscure, which I thought was pretty cool, and while doing some research for this video, found out that Claire Obscure in French means light and dark, so you learn something new every day. We had finally reached the end of the monolith, and the door to the Paintress was just beyond us.
You.
Oh, of course you're here.
We're taking her down.
The pain of losing you, she made me inherit it. If saving you means losing you, then so be it.
It's time for the Renoir battle, but first just listen to this soundtrack. Easily the best soundtrack in video game history. I honestly would just keep losing to him on purpose to hear that opening. Anyways, Renoir has the same tricks from the first fight, being able to just erase anyone from the battle if you fail the counter, and this time when he gets to half health, he summons this.
Your sister deserves more.
Did he actually just summon a lion? I'll give him some credit, that looks really cool. Probably just fully healed him, great. So yeah, the lion fully heals him and also enrages him, which allows him to attack twice per round. Despite all this, I was able to beat him with just Verso left, which seemed fitting in the context of the whole story. Just stay down, dude.
Remember who your real family is. We are your family. He would condemn us all to die for what? Destruction of the Descendre family? At long last, we meet.
Wait, how is my Aldin? I have more questions now.
Behind this door is the future of Lumiere. What every expedition has worked towards.
With Renoir finally defeated, there was nobody left to stand in our way, as we could now take on the Paintress.
You've come back?
Alicia.
Alicia's your daughter.
And I'll remind you of her. The daughter you lost.
Let's go home.
Yes. You need to go home.
This is another trick. You are not my Verso.
No. Verso's dead.
No. You are his creations, not mine. Take this canvas from me.
Uh-oh, I made her angry.
How cruel of your father to use you like this.
So finally, we took on the Paintress, who had some pretty hard-hitting attacks, like these meteors, which could stun me if I wasn't careful. But I had spent the entire game so far only parrying, so I'd gotten pretty good at it, and I was able to catch on to the pattern quite quickly. And I'd built my team around these three characters, so I was feeling pretty confident about my chances. Maëlle again was going to carry, and I just had to make sure she stacked burns just so as to get off more damage each turn. The Paintress battle was also a great mix of utilising all the different counters I had learned up to at this point. And even though her gradient attack wasn't as deadly as Renoir's, it could still deal out some pretty mean damage, so it was vital to get those gradient counters down. After taking her down quite easily, it was time for her second phase. Okay, so now I have to fight the actual huge figure we've seen all game. Great. Yeah, Eske, my boy.
Let's go.
Oh no way, do I actually get to fight with Eske? The second phase begins with the Paintress summoning a paintbrush, which she can use to deal high damage to all party members, so I had to get the timing down if I didn't want to get wiped immediately. She also controls the giant puppet, who is literally able to rip the fabric of reality to attack with projectiles. As I progress throughout this game, I've learned to listen to the sound cues of attacks, rather than the attacks themselves, which is really handy for these cinematic-like attacks. Her strongest attack, however, was giving me serious timing issues, as she went from attacking quickly to delaying her attack and doing this back and forth before unleashing a party-wide attack. Despite all that, it wasn't even her strongest attack that was her most dangerous ability, as she was able to use the puppet to drop huge amounts of chroma on the entire party, applying 2 debuffs at once, with one of those being the curse debuff, meaning the character would die in 3 turns if Lune wasn't able to cleanse them. I didn't realise at the time, but I could have shot the orbs around the Paintress to prolong this effect. With Lune's healing abilities, I was able to keep Mael and Minoko healthy and was eventually able to take her down.
Better.
Wait, is this a 3rd phase?
Your turn to dance.
Protects an expeditioner? Oh, this is actually quite sad. Like, I know she's the main boss, but she's just kind of helpless. So yeah, there was a 3rd phase, but the only actions the Paintress would take would be to heal or shield one of the characters. So I guess it was her way of showing remorse for what she had done. Mael finished her off finally and put her out of her misery.
Rest now. Things have been better soon.
Alicia.
Mael Alicia.
It's over. The number. She's gone.
Sweet, another achievement for beating the Paintress. Oh, poor Gustav. You're a wizard, Verso.
My family, a facsimile of yours, and this world, a mirror, painted by your mother, the Paintress, to stave off her grief. Seeing your expedition through would plunge us all into the abyss.
Wait, what? I thought we stopped the Paintress in the Gamage. Dude, we've lost everyone. I think that's 16 years before this expedition. That's Verso.
You're okay.
Is that Alicia? Yeah, it must be. Is that a 3rd axon on the left? So that's Renoir and the Paintress, I imagine. And who's this?
Our little shadow is awake.
Clea. I mean, I guess I have to enter the canvas. What is the canvas, though?
This only truly ends if you destroy the canvas. And that means stopping the final sliver of Verso's soul from painting. See? It wasn't so hard. Wait, that's Aline's chroma. Stay calm. Don't let it take control of you. Calm, Alicia, or it'll paint over you. What a suspicious start. Well, you're about to be reborn in this world as one of Aline's creations. Have fun.
She's a girl. She's a girl. She's beautiful. What a lovely voice.
I want you to know you're not alone. You will know love, and you will know pain. You will know loss all too well. You'll find people to call your own, and you will shine as their guiding light. For you will change the world, and the people around you. And her name will be... Maëlle.
Alicia.
Actually, I prefer Maëlle.
I think I do too. But I'm not really Verso, and you're not really Maëlle, are you?
Well, if I hadn't trusted the writers, Verso would still be alive, and you...
Wouldn't exist.
Wouldn't be caught in the middle.
What is better this way?
Better for who? Verso would never have wanted his canvas gone. Papa's here. He'll help me fix Lumiere.
Will he?
Nice, we're not damage capped anymore.
Papa!
Alicia.
Is this the good version of Renoir?
You're safe. Some of Elene's finest work. I regret that it caused you so much pain. What Elene did was unfair to you most of all. Please, accept the Descendre family's apologies. Raise the canvas. We won't have to worry anymore.
She's home now, why?
You know your mother. Verso painted this canvas. It contains a piece of his soul. She'll never willingly part with it.
Papa. Papa, please. This is Verso's only canvas. You can't destroy the last piece of him that we have. This is my home now. You can't just decide...
Your home? Look at me. I said no. I am not letting my daughter risk her life. Well, you will, and I am not doing this again.
Nope, this Renoir actually might be worse.
It's time to go home.
Oh, not Verso also. Wait, did Maëlle just anti-gomage him? Oh, thank God Eske is alive.
I did it so easily. What am I doing wrong?
Don't be discouraged. It's only been a day since you remembered your paintress side.
Remember them.
How did we got marched?
We have much to talk about.
And you were a paintress too. You can bring them back too. Yeah? Everyone we've lost.
Yeah, but I need chroma, and Papa controls all the chroma in the canvas.
Not all of it. The expeditioners. The ones killed by Nevrons. Gustave noticed their chroma remains in their bodies.
It's old chroma and not pure. It won't be like bringing the two of you back, but we could use it in other ways.
Time for the greatest expedition in history.
Expedition 33.2 Electric Boogaloo. Okay, so after that absolute bombshell of an opening scene to start Act 3, our goal was to head back to Lumiere to defeat Renoir for a final time. I had a few things I wanted to clear up beforehand though, and the first were the relationship quests. The first was Eske's, which meant returning to our good friend Francois, who still had his deadliest ice attack ever, which admittedly took me far too long to beat. After beating him, he gave us the final rock in Eske's collection, which meant we had unlocked all his abilities, giving us an achievement. In doing so, I was able to reach Mac's relationship with Eske for another achievement. I also did the same with CL, earning me 2 achievements in quick succession. Now, for the other 3, they had quests attached to them to max out their relationship, so I did Mael's to begin with.
Another axon. How did it get so large?
My sister's at the top.
As I made my way through the area, I was actually able to get an unexpected achievement for reaching level 66. Impeccable technique. Graphic design is her passion.
She blames us. Doesn't she? Oh, you're the real Axon.
So as it turns out, Alicia was the 3rd Axon, and she was tough, especially as it was a solo fight. I got a taste of my own medicine, as it was like fighting a mirror version of Mael. The painted picto we got at the start of Act 3 really helped, as I was doing some serious damage with some of my abilities. Once Alicia gets to half health, she applies Powerful to herself, so her attacks hit harder. I was able to get the hang of her attack patterns for the most part after battling her a few times, but she had one last trick up her sleeve, as once she fell to just about 1/3 of her health left, she would attack twice in a row. Thankfully, she tried to gradient attack me, and that was easy to counter, meaning we could finally put Alicia to rest.
Me. To my family.
Mael!
I'm truly sorry, Verso.
Please.
With Alicia erased from the canvas, we maxed out our relationship with Mael, earning us our 3rd relationship achievement. Luna's quest involved us recovering a journal from her parents' expedition, which was located near Serene. After solving the world's hardest riddle, we had to face off against the Chromatic Lysando, a much stronger version of the boss we faced in Serene. It was tough, but thankfully its debuff didn't really affect me, as it only applied Dizzy, which affected my free aim. I didn't know it at the time, but I was supposed to shoot its tail to weaken it, but as you can see, I had my parrying down. It was still dangerous, and I had to be on my guard, as some of its attacks were a guaranteed stun if you failed to parry it. Its most dangerous ability was unavoidable, as if you fainted, it would swallow up the party member who had fainted and then heal itself. And like previous battles, the only way to retrieve them would be to break it. I was barely able to defeat it, and again I was lucky it attacked with a gradient, as they were much easier to counter, and even after defeating it, you had to be on your guard, as it spawns 3 enemies in its place. These enemies were a piece of cake compared to the boss, however, and with the journal retrieved, we had reached max relationship with Lune, and with that, another achievement. Finally, it was time to max out our relationship with our best friend Minoko, which meant we had to fulfill his request of bringing Noko back to life. Golgra was annoyed that we had skipped the queue to resurrect a Gestrel, and she challenged us to a battle, and I can see now why she's the Gestrel leader, because she hit hard. Her combos were relentless, and even if you missed one parry, she could one-shot you with ease. And if that wasn't tough enough, she got more powerful at half health and started using stronger attacks. Now, I did beat her first try, but I will admit that was due to a lot of revive things. Without them, I would have been a while at this boss. After defeating Golgra, she allowed us to skip the queue and bring Noko back. This maxed out our relationship with Minoko, but for some reason my achievement glitched and it didn't pop up. This glitch also happened in my next fight with the first of 2 optional overworld bosses, Sprung. This boss wasn't necessarily tough, but my god, it had a massive health pool, so this was just a long battle and not a tough one. Its attacks were quite easy to counter, and it didn't really ever pose much of a threat, so I was happy to defeat this optional boss for the achievement. But again, it didn't pop up for some reason. The next optional boss, however, was much tougher and had one of the most unique battles I've ever seen within an RPG. Serpent Fair was a dragon-like creature that, like Sprung, had a massive health pool, but you had no way to properly damage it, as it would absorb any AP you had built up, which you need to use your stronger skills with. And it would also give itself 8 shields that you had to get rid of using counters or just normal attacks. The uniqueness of this battle was that you had to get it to damage itself, by making it absorb too many APs, so it explodes and damages itself. But again, if you don't get rid of its shield, it's going to do no damage to itself and wipe your entire party, or at best, stun you so you lose a turn. This was the first boss I had to actually plan a strategy around using Pictos and making sure I was feeding AP to my party. But after a few battles, I was able to take it down, and this time I did actually receive the achievement for beating it. After maxing out our relationship with Eske, Verso learned at level 3 Gradient Attack, which we then used in battle to earn an achievement for doing so. Hell yes, I've got an army ready to go. Dude, it's like the Ghost Army in Lord of the Rings.
Tomorrow comes.
So at this point of the game, I had done a lot of optional content, and I didn't realise I'd be so overpowered for this point of the game, as I was pretty much one-shotting everything that I came up against. I also had access to my L skill Steinhall, which was doing a ridiculous amount of damage, especially in Virtuose stance, so battles were getting kind of trivial.
Just want you to understand what this canvas means to me.
I do understand. Do you really think that I want to destroy this last piece of his soul?
You treat me as if I'm still 5!
I treat you as if the shadow from the worst day of our lives is going to suffocate you and take you from us too!
Classic student fights the mentor. Except realistically, I'm going to one-shot him. So I didn't exactly one-shot him, but pretty much did with the help of the burn damage. Now, even though I was able to defeat him on my first turn, Renoir still has some tricks up his sleeves, as he's able to summon the Axons that we defeated in Act 2 to help him in battle.
We must accept things as they are, not how we want them to be.
However, at this point, he's just delaying the inevitable. As like I said earlier, I was just unfortunately very over-leveled at this point to make it a fair fight. Serene does fully heal him, but that's only to set up his second phase.
Stop this insanity. It's time to go home.
Fuck. He keeps regenerating. Maybe we focus on the Axons first.
The Paintress.
You're going to kill yourself. It's too soon for you to return to any canvas.
I guess we don't need to worry about the accidents. Man, I will never get over how good this music is. So to start the final phase of this fight, Renoir summons the canvas behind him, and uses its powers to buff all his stats. You would think it would make the fight a small bit harder, but no. Mael was again able to use Steindl, and absolutely destroy Renoir to finish him off. That was pretty cool.
Your mother was the one who saved me when I lost myself in a canvas. Do you know why I cannot leave her or you behind? This is what I see every day. I cannot lose you too.
Don't you see? That's how I feel about them. I can't lose them either. See? I've lost so much.
We both lost so much.
I'm not leaving you forever. Just a little longer.
Keep the light on for you. Hold on to each other.
Verso!
I'm sorry.
Oh, sweet, another achievement. Oh, that's the kid we've been seeing throughout the game.
You're tired of painting.
Oh, it must be a young Verso.
Why did you run in? It's dangerous for you here.
Did I hear? Why don't you just leave? You can always come back. You don't need this canvas.
But everything I want is here.
Life keeps forcing cruel choices. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't make me choose, man. So I had to choose Mael's ending, because after looking it up, it would mean the death of everyone else, and I just couldn't make that emotional choice after playing through this game.
Thank you. Stop him from painting. I don't want this life. Help me. Help me.
Dude, there's just like no good ending at all.
If you could grow old, would you find a reason to smile?
After that emotional bombshell, there was only a few things to clean up. One of them was to find all the lost Gestrels spread out in the overworld, and after I found the last one high above the clouds, I got the achievement for finding all of them. My next achievement was to finish off all the Nevron quests, which popped when I actually finished the first quest I thought I had done. And after that, I fully upgraded Mael's weapon to get the Weapon Mastery achievement. Now that all those were done, it was time for the true endgame. First up was to make my way through the Endless Tower, which was a boss gauntlet. Some fights would be bosses we originally faced, with some regular enemies accompanying them, which meant fighting some of my favourite bosses I'd faced in this game. The early stages weren't too tough to begin with, but still more of a challenge than Renoir had been. Another reason for doing the gauntlet was to get the last of Inoko's skills, which after beating the Lampmaster gave me an achievement for getting all of them. The boss that gave me the most trouble was this Chromatic Aberration, who had attacks that would hit the entire team, and the other Chromatic Nevron in this battle would just spend its turns buffing it. So this was probably the toughest battle I had had so far. I eventually did make it through to the final battle, which was a double battle against the Curator and the Paintress. And they were extremely tough, capable of one-shotting me, and it wasn't like your standard double battle where you can focus on one of them, as they had a shared health pool. Despite a few failed attempts, Mael once again pulled through with Steindl, and I was able to finally overcome the two of them and finish off the gauntlet, which in doing so gave me 2 achievements. One achievement for collecting all 33 music records, and of course, the achievement for finishing the actual gauntlet. The gauntlet was also very handy in getting a lot of XP, which we'll need to reach level 99 for another achievement. After that grind, I decided to do something a bit easier, which meant I was going to do the Gestural Beach minigames. My favourite was the one obviously inspired by Only Up, which was never frustrating even if I fell because the music was banging. The other minigames were quite easy, except for the raft battle minigame, which was actually quite tough and took me a few goes to finally beat it. Once I did so, however, I earned the achievement for finishing all the minigames, and more importantly, a swimsuit for Monoko. Next up was to defeat the overworld Chromatic Patank, which were enemies that flee if you don't defeat them in a certain amount of turns. But again, we are at quite a high level at this point, so it was quite easy to defeat it, and in doing so we got another achievement. The next area we had to go to was the Flying Manor, an area similar to the Endless Tower. However, this time it was only 4 bosses we had to defeat to progress to the final boss of this area. The first up was the Lampmaster, one of my favourite bosses, so it was fun to fight him again, and it was here I used Mael's level 3 gradient attack for the first time, which actually did more damage than the already ridiculously overpowered Steinhill, so it was good to know I had that damage potential. After that, it was Goblu, who even in this endgame was an absolute pushover, as its attacks were extremely easy to counter, and like Mael, Monoko had access to all his skills at this point. That meant there were only 2 bosses left, and the first was actually a double battle, against both the Frost and Flame of X. I'll be honest, Mael made this fight absolutely trivial using her regular skills, as well as the newly acquired gradient attack, which allowed her to gommage enemies. That meant there was only 1 boss left, and it was my favourite boss in the game, the Duelist. I loved any excuse to fight him, as parrying his attacks was so satisfying. And after defeating him, there was nothing left to do, except push forward onto a surprise super boss. Oh, she's gonna be wicked powerful.
You're alive.
And now she paints Nevrons.
She's the one who's been painting all the Nevrons and bosses. The fight with Clea was insane. She had 7 different attacks that all involved all the previous Nevrons we had faced, and you had to parry every single one of those attacks, or else she would gain a load of health back. If that wasn't bad enough, if you failed to parry one attack, you'd get stunned. I wouldn't be able to do anything for the next attack. And to make matters worse, once she dropped below 50% health, she would summon a Bourgeon to swallow a party member. I will admit, I got so close on so many occasions to just get stunned and not do anything to stop my party from being killed, that I had to resort to Mael's gommage ability and just basically one-shot her. But in doing so, we earned the Clea achievement for beating her. And with Clea defeated, it was time for one of the hardest bosses I've faced in any video game I've ever played.
Simon.
You know him?
He's an old friend of mine. We joined Expedition Zero together. Looks like you met Clea. I'll lay you to rest. My friend.
Now, Clea was a tough battle, but Simon was just downright insanely difficult. His first phase was very tough, capable of one-shotting you. There was absolutely no room for error at all, and it took me ages to figure out his attack patterns. The one attack pattern I just couldn't get down for the life of me was when he actually drops his sword and just straight beats your ass with fists, almost like he was toying with me. Now, I was very aware that Simon was going to be a 2-phase boss, but I just didn't think his second phase was going to be as tough as it was.
These foes are beneath you,
Oh, just leave me alone, Clea.
who have fought heaven and earth and subdued giants. To find me, to free me from her grasp. Would you fall now to the likes of them? While your oath remains unfulfilled, rise. Your enemies await.
Holy shit, that's so cinematic. So his second phase made his first phase look like a regular Nevron, as he hits way harder and much, much quicker. And of course, it wasn't enough for him to get buffs to all his stats. No, he has to get the ability to steal the chroma from a party member, reducing their health down to just 1 HP. This fight just seemed impossible to me. as I could always defeat his first phase, but his attacks in the second phase just required so much precision to parry, and even missing one parry could be fatal. And even if you could parry them or somehow survive, next turn he would just reduce you to 1 HP. It was extremely frustrating, but not as frustrating as his third phase, where he just straight up removes any party members on the field from the canvas. I understand it was so you had to use all your party members, but it just felt so unfair and draining once you got to that stage after such an arduous fight. Because of this, I had to devise a strategy that was as broken as his ability to just erase the party members from the canvas. After sacrificing Lune, Verso and Minoko in the second phase, I was able to get CL to buff Mael so she would do double damage, and then finally used her Gamage ability on Simon. Pure cheese, I know, but I'll admit I just couldn't defeat him as I was due to his third phase. I still got the achievement for beating him, so that's all that matters to me. Finally, man. So I thought getting Simon's journal was the last journal I needed, and I was freaking out when the achievement didn't pop up, because I thought it had glitched like the achievements earlier, and I had done all that for nothing, or that I would have to fight Simon again. Thankfully, it turns out I had just missed Renoir's journal, that I thought I'd picked up earlier in the manor, so thankfully I didn't have to experience that fight with Simon again. With that, I got the achievement for all journals, and now all that was left to do was some good old-fashioned XP grinding in an RPG for the obligatory level 99 achievement. Thankfully there was a merchant nearby who allowed you to battle him over and over again, and so with that, I had got the final achievement and finished the game. If you've made it this far, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider liking it, and subscribing if you enjoyed what you saw. Secondly, if you haven't played this game yet, do yourself a favour and play it, because it's an absolute masterpiece. And I think everyone should experience a game like this, because it's simply groundbreaking. And if you haven't already, leave a comment below on what's the best game you've ever played. This would definitely be up there for me. Thanks once again, and I hope you have a great day.